Hello, my name is Chad Bruns, and tonight we're going to have a discussion about communication and leadership. I'd like to start off with a quote. Skill in the art of communication is crucial to a leader's success. He can accomplish nothing unless he can communicate effectively. The case assigned, we're going to be discussing the Cerner Corporation in an email written by the CEO Neil Patterson to its employees. I'd like to read the email so you have a base for our discussion. We are getting less than 40 hours of work from a large number of our KC-based employees. The parking lot is sparsely used at 8 a.m., likewise at 5 p.m. As managers, you either do not know what your employees are doing or you do not care. I will hold you accountable. You have allowed this to get to this state. You have 2 weeks. Tick-tock. Neil Patterson, CEO of Cerner Corporation. Let's look at the first signs of the problems that surfaced at Cerner Corporation. The communications at Cerner appear to have begun well before this incident occurred. Mr. Patterson made a statement that he had never had an employee who worked for him that felt they should only work a 40-hour work week. So he's obviously offended by these employees that come and go and work fewer hours than that. However, for him to have come over the top with an emotional email such as this, it's a long-seated problem. He must not have thoroughly explained his expectations and his standards to his employees and to his management team to allow this to ever get to such a point. Mr. Patterson places the blame of this on his managers. Even though they cannot fairly be held accountable for this if he had never set the correct expectations. For him to blame his management team for something that he finds unacceptable but had never relayed effectively to them himself is not a good practice and is unfair to his employees and his management team. The email sent on March 13th, 2000 was the result of communication failures that had been building for a long time. Something this emotional sent out to that many people obviously was a trigger for Mr. Patterson. But it didn't have to be so. If he would have addressed this with his management team in a more effective manner, he never would have had this problem. He could have very easily held a face-to-face roundtable discussion with his management team to discuss the things that he felt were inappropriate for his company and his employees and give them feedback on the way he felt that things should be implemented and the way he wanted to see his company run. Next, let's look at the root of what caused Cerner's communication problems. Mr. Patterson used email to communicate his message. Email is a very lean channel of communication, especially to send such a harsh message as this. It should be used only for routine tasks, day-to-day mundane functions. If there's something so personal and so serious as this, that he's threatening people's jobs, it should be a face-to-face discussion, probably even an individual meeting, not something blasted out as a group email to thousands of employees. Even more seriously than this, Mr. Patterson failed to properly assess his audience and caused even further damage to his own image as of that of the company. He not only sent this to all of the employees, but he had to understand that in the current world, in the advent of the internet and the technology we see on a day-to-day basis, this was absolutely guaranteed to get to the outside world, not just be kept within Cerner. He had to know this, yet he chose to send a message out via this medium. When this did get out there, it was posted on a Yahoo message board. Within 1 week of Mr. Patterson sending this email from Cerner, their stock price dropped significantly. Investors read this email posted on a message board and they immediately thought that the company was in trouble. Why else would a CEO be blasting his entire company with a harsh, impersonal email such as this unless they were in severe danger of missing their projections? Mr. Patterson should have known this. There's no reason for him not to have known this and sent the email regardless. In conclusion, if Mr. Patterson would have used a richer channel to communicate, been less emotional in his communications with his employees, maybe thought it through just a little bit more, he not only would have come across as much more genuine and caring to his employees, he would have helped the relationship rather than damage a relationship between the people that he depends on every day to get the job done. And furthermore, he would have completely avoided a massive public embarrassment that was generated by something like this coming out in a public arena where this is someone's opinion of the Cerner Corporation as well as its CEO. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.